So I recently returned from the Sundance Film Festival where I saw a lot of movies, both in person and virtually. I had an amazing time in Park City. It was my first trip in 18 years. I got to meet up with some friends that I've only known through Zoom the last couple years. I got to meet up with the Oscar experts and Brother Bro and the lovely Cody Derricks from Next Best Picture, and it was such an amazing time. I wanted to make a few videos for the month of February talking about my very favorite films I watched at Sundance. I saw about 20 films over the course of a week, and I liked almost everything. Only two or three films I wasn't so hot on. I'm not going to talk about those. But I did want to talk about the two or three that really floored me, that I thought were fantastic. In this video, I'm going to talk about my absolute number one favorite film at the 2023 Sundance Film Festival, and that film is Past Lives. You might have heard of this one. It did not play virtually. The only way to see it at Sundance was in person, and it all started when I was waiting in line at the Eccles Theater to see Eileen when the Oscar expert and Brother Bro came up to me and said, "Have you seen Past Lives?" And I was only vaguely aware of that title. I wasn't that sure about it. They said you cannot leave this festival without having seen Past Lives. The buzz around it was incredible. And when I got home that night, I read up on it a little bit and I decided this is a movie I think I'm going to like. And so I completely changed my whole schedule around the next day so I could go to the press and industry screening at 11:30 a.m. the following day. And let me tell you, there was kind of this charge in the room that I didn't feel in all of the screenings at Sundance. You got the feeling before that movie started we were in for something special, and we absolutely were. This is an incredible film that reminded me in some ways of Richard Linklater's Before trilogy, which is my favorite trilogy of all time. I love movies about passage of time, about relationships that develop over many decades. The film tells of two childhood friends in South Korea that have this connection to each other. They take long walks, and they're almost destined in a way to be together, but life gets in the way. They go their own separate directions. When they're adults, they reconnect online and start to talk to each other over Skype for a long while. They clearly have this chemistry that is undeniable, but they're on two separate continents. They come to realize that the first time they'll ever actually get to see each other in person is at least another year and a half to 2 years away. So Nora, played by Greta Lee, tells Hai Sung, played by Tou, that they need to stop this online chat. They need to live their lives, and if they happen to meet up in person years down the road, then they can restart their friendship, their relationship. Nora is in the United States now. She is studying writing, and she eventually marries a man named Arthur, played by John Magaro. She's happily in love, and then a few years later, Hai Sung comes back. They finally have that face-to-face meeting, but now the timing just isn't right, and so the movie kind of asks the question, what happens when you do have this soulmate who you've known since you were young, but because of your current life situation, you're not really able to fulfill that promise, you're not able to pursue that dream. Past Lives is one of those movies I feel like anyone could connect to, wherever you are in your life, whether you're young or old. We've all had at least one relationship with someone where the timing just wasn't there, but years later, decades later, you come to think about it, you think, man, if we had met at a different time, if I had been a different person then, maybe that relationship could have been something different. The movie touches on all these relatable ideas, and it does so in a way that's always compelling. And it just kind of keeps you on edge. You don't really know where the story's going, how it's going to resolve itself. Of course, I'm not going to give away any spoilers of the third act. What I will say about the third act is this was the only film at the Sundance Film Festival that brought me to tears. And it brought me to tears in a way that was unlike very few movies I've seen before, because the emotion was building inside of me for minutes on end, and I was just ready for this cathartic release. And there's this very brief moment, an actor's choice at the very end of the movie, that just unleashed the tears in a way that I could not control. And it's the mark of a great artist, Celine Song, who wrote and directed this movie. This is her feature film debut, which is stunning to me. This feels like the work of someone who's made 10, 15 movies before. That this is a debut is really remarkable. This does not in any way feel like a debut. It feels like someone who's really been honing their craft of filmmaking for many years. And so when I heard that after I saw the movie, I was kind of shocked, and I can't wait to see what Celine Song does next. There is a mood to this movie that sucks you in right from the beginning. Not a word needs to be said between the characters, often to know what they're feeling, what they're thinking. There's a tremendous sense of place in this movie. Hai Sung arriving in the United States and feeling kind of like a fish out of water, whereas Nora feels very much at home in this foreign country. To her is really riveting and interesting, and the way that the setting plays into their relationship in the second half of the movie I found fascinating. And of course the performances are stellar. Greta Lee is so grounded and intelligent in this film. She has a big heart, but she also understands what she should and should not do for her line of work, for her own happiness. Nora clearly has this deep love for Hai Sung that is there from the beginning. And so when you find them at the end of the movie, in the place that they are, and everything that they've been through in their lives, it's just really moving. It's a story that might not have worked if it had been paced too quickly. If it had been an extra 30, 40 minutes, it might have been too much. The movie's about an hour and 45 minutes. I think it's the right length. It didn't need to be 2 hours and 40 like Boyhood, a movie that I also adore by Richard Linklater. I do think that movie needed that time because we're seeing a boy grow over 12 specific years, whereas Past Lives really just deals with the characters in 3 specific times in their lives. Most of the film is about the characters in their 20s and then in their 30s, and I feel like that was the right approach. We needed to see them a little bit as kids, but most of the movie is about how they're dealing with their relationship and kind of the ghost of their relationship as they're older adults with their own lives, and that's where the heart of the movie is. I love all the little details throughout the movie. The opening scene is intriguing. We open on our main characters, but the people we're hearing are off camera commenting on who they might be, how they might relate to each other with one long shot. It's a great opening that completely sets the scene of what we're about to see. When they're talking to each other through screens, it's not like this perfect, pristine presentation of their faces. Like we see the internet connection breaking, we see static, we see like the image going in and out of focus. It feels very real. And that's another reason why that part of the movie feels very genuine. It's just about their connection through their dialogue. Like you really get a sense of how much they like to engage with each other. I enjoyed that element of the movie. And then I don't want to give it away at the end, but there is this walk that happens in the last 20 minutes that emulates a walk they have as kids at the beginning that is just breathtaking. It's an emotional roller coaster. Prepare yourself for this film. When it ended, I turned around and I saw a lot more people than this guy crying, because it does hit you in a place that few movies do. The ideas of passage of time, of regret, of feeling a connection to someone you can't have. Greta Lee, as I said, is amazing in this, and TOU is also incredible. I was so taken by his performance. You can see the pain in his eyes in that third act. You can feel the reality setting in, but also his just ridiculous joy to finally spend some quality time with Nora in person. Celine's song has some camera shots in this movie that don't cut for a long while, where the camera just pans with the characters for a minute, 2 minutes as they talk. This movie is in no rush to get somewhere. There's no big plot. It's very reminiscent of, I would say, the second film in the Before trilogy, Before Sunset from 2004, which is one of my 10 favorite films of all time. This idea of like, we clearly have a love for each other, but is acting on that love the best choice for us at this moment in time? It's just a magnificent movie. I have not stopped thinking about this one since I saw it at Sundance. Again, I saw a lot of really terrific films. I saw maybe 4 or 5 that I loved, and then a lot of films that I liked or really liked. This is the one film I saw at Sundance that is a masterpiece. And I don't know if I'm going to see a movie for the rest of 2023 that I love more. This could be my choice for the number 1 best film of the year. And it's only February. And I saw the movie in January. I know a lot of people hype up films at Sundance at the beginning of the year. You see a lot of tweets, a lot of things like, wow, this is the movie of the year. Wow, this might be my favorite film of the year, and it's January. And you're kind of rolling your eyes like, okay, yeah, sure. I am not kidding with this movie. Everyone I talked to after the screening really loved it as much as, or close to as much as I did. And I just don't know if we're going to get another film like it. A24 has it. I don't know when they're releasing Past Lives. It might be in a few months. It might be in the fall. I feel like this movie could do very well next award season. I don't know. I can't really think about next award season right now. We're still in the current one, so I'm not really going to even think about that. But I wanted to make this video to tell you how special Past Lives is. It really stood out because over the course of a week or so, I watched 20 films, and this is the one that I can't stop thinking about. Like, I've gotten emotional about this movie just thinking about it days, weeks later. It has a presence about it, a mood, an idea. It's a story beautifully told, well acted, well directed, beautifully shot, great score. And that last 20 minutes is an emotional roller coaster that I can't wait to get on again. I cannot wait to see this movie again and tell everybody to see it. It is something truly special. Past Lives, written and directed by Celine Song, one of the great films of 2023, a masterpiece that is probably the best film I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Again, I saw so many terrific films at the Sundance Film Festival. For INSESSION Film, I wrote reviews for 6 of them, including Eileen, You Hurt My Feelings, and Fair Play. Fair Play, by the way, was my second favorite film of the festival, is also amazing. I've included links to those 6 reviews at INSESSION Film below. Join me next week when I talk about another really wonderful romance drama that also reminded me of the Before trilogy. We're talking Rye Lane. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Past Lives. Don't miss it. It is extraordinary. It is a masterpiece.